Hey everyone, welcome back to CP Whiskey Creek in nscale. In this video, I'm going to share my progress that I've been making in the distillery area. I started planning this sometime through last year, but over the last couple months, I've been finally making some progress in this area. The far building that you see here is the blending building. This receives tanked cars with the whiskey coming in from another location, and they'll finish off the process. Then there's a series of piping that sends it to the bottling and packaging building, which is the one that's closest to you. This receives boxcars with supplies and then ships the final product out by truck. This whole sort of setup that I have here is very loosely based on the Crown Royal facilities in Amherstburg, Ontario, where they accept tank cars coming in from Gimli, Manitoba, and then ship out the finished Crown Royal product. For this facility, I selected a couple buildings from DPM. I'm using the Goodnight mattress kit for the blending house and the Grips luggage kit for the bottling building. I start off with a bath for all the pieces in warm soapy water. This helps clean off any of the grease from the mold release agent, and then prime them using my now hard to find Tamiya Fine Primer. These kits come with fairly large tabs, which I'm assuming are something in lieu of the sprues and as part of the injection molding process. But you spend a lot of time trying to cut them off and then sanding down, and I can't imagine that this dust is very good for you. So if you're dealing with these DPM kits, then I would use caution when you're doing the sanding process. Once everything was cleaned up, then I started the assembly process and then painting. For painting, I did a mix of brown paint with a red brick paint, and I used a makeup sponge to apply that to get a textured look. I wanted to try to avoid having brush strokes all over everything and didn't really feel like getting the airbrush out for this. While the paint was drying on the buildings, I started working on some accessories, which I didn't really take many pictures or videos of. I got from nscaler 454, a fellow Canadian nscaler, a few 3D printed parts which I featured in an unboxing video earlier this year. One being a gantry which will connect the two buildings with several pipes, and the other being this pump station for unloading the tank cars. While everything was far from done, I had to take a couple test shots to see how the facility is coming together. The next step was adding windows. The kits supply more clear plastic than you should need if you plan your cuts fairly well. I use a clear Gorilla Glue which dries quite clear, applying it using a disposable paintbrush, and then I use a whole bunch of clothespins as clamps. Any woodworker will tell you that you can never have enough clamps. The next stage is working on the roof. The kits supply plastic sheets, so I turned the kits over and traced the sizes that I needed to cut them out. Then I glued on the support strips, which were also supplied. This gives you something for the roof to actually glue onto and attach onto. I used a sliding square to make sure that it was level throughout, because obviously you don't want an unlevel roof. I should note that I didn't design the good mattress slash blending building exactly as intended, so I appreciate the way that they supply these parts, lending to the kit basher in mind. I did find that I had to touch up the paint on the inside of the roof since I missed it the first time around. Then next up, I primed and painted the roof pieces. While the roof pieces were drying, then I added the pump station. I marked where it was going and then drilled a small hole to accept the pipe. And finally came time for the roof pieces to go in. I was able to glue from the bottom using those strips that I added earlier. The buildings were then given a coating of dull coat. I found that the windows were a little too see-through and that you can easily see that the buildings were vacant on the inside and actually see right through them. So the dull coat does help by giving all the glass a little bit of a hazy look so you can't necessarily see on the inside. You wouldn't want to use dull coat if you had interior details, but for these ones I don't. There's still a lot more work that needs to be done to this area to really bring it to life, including scenery, and I even have some ideas for possibly lighting this building up. But I'm very happy with having this stage done for now. Now the cars actually have some purpose instead of stopping at a piece of cardboard used as an IOU. Hopefully you enjoyed following along with this build with me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.